The illusion of the fourth dimension. Is reality real? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the world unfolding before you. The shape of your room, the color of the sky, distant sounds, the feeling of the breeze. We recognize all of these as reality in our everyday lives. But is this reality truly real? We are taught that the world consists of three spatial dimensions: length, width, and height, and one dimension of time flowing from past to future. This four-dimensional spacetime is believed by most people to be the entirety of existence. It's in textbooks, on television, and embedded in the routines of daily life. We observe, hear, feel, and make decisions within this familiar framework. However, what if this four-dimensional reality is deeply incomplete? What if we're not actually seeing the world as it is, but instead seeing a reconstructed version filtered and interpreted by our brains, an illusion mistaken for truth? Imagine, for example, a red apple. That red isn't a property of the apple itself. Rather, it is a specific wavelength of light being reflected into your eyes and interpreted by your brain as the color red. In other words, reality is a subjective experience, a construct assembled from data received by our sensory organs and processed by our brains. Now ask yourself, what if human eyes had evolved to see different wavelengths of light? What if we were able to perceive 5 dimensions instead of 3? The world we see now would look completely different. The reality we currently accept is merely a locally customized virtual world, shaped by the biological limitations of our species. And this is not just poetic metaphor. Contemporary neuroscience, cognitive science, and quantum physics are all beginning to verify this illusionary nature of reality. The human brain has limits. Our range of hearing and vision only captures narrow slices of the full spectrum. Dogs and dolphins can hear sounds we cannot. Bees and birds can see ultraviolet light invisible to the human eye. We are not perceiving all of reality. We are perceiving only that sliver of the universe that is compatible with human biology. This leads us to a profound question. Where is true reality? It may dwell in those hidden dimensions that we cannot directly perceive. Those many layers of reality quietly unfolding beyond our limited senses. For dimensions may be only the beginning. Beyond this threshold, a vast, intricate structure might be waiting. Shall we gently open the door and step through? Chapter 2. Professor Yasunori Nomura and the Hidden Layers of the Universe. In this vast world, there are scientists who dare to challenge what is accepted as common sense. They dig deep beneath the assumptions about reality and the origins of the cosmos, seeking truths hidden beneath the surface. Among these explorers is Professor Yasunori Nomura. Currently a theoretical physicist at the University of California, Berkeley, Professor Nomura stands at the forefront of cutting-edge physics. Despite being Japanese, he is one of the rare few leading global inquiry into the mysteries of the universe. His areas of expertise include quantum gravity, the black hole information paradox, and multiverse theory, terms that may sound esoteric, but all point toward one central question. What is the true nature of the universe? Professor Nomura once said, "What we perceive as reality may not be real at all. There could be far more structure unfolding beyond the dimensions our senses can grasp." These words are not spiritual musings or philosophical daydreams. They are scientific hypotheses grounded in rigorous mathematics and theoretical frameworks. What made Nomura's work particularly groundbreaking was his application of string theory and M-theory, models that posit a universe composed of 9 or 10 dimensions, and his efforts to connect these to observable phenomena. He is especially known for using the holographic principle to explore one of physics' greatest puzzles: how information is preserved in black holes. This principle suggests that our universe itself may be a projection of higher dimensional information. If that's true, then human consciousness, too, might be designed as part of that structure. This isn't religious or mystical speculation. It's the scientific reinterpretation of what were once considered metaphysical ideas, seen through the lens of theoretical physics. Professor Nomura has built a reputation not only through his academic achievements, but through his bold and unorthodox approach. In his lectures and papers, you'll frequently encounter terms like dimensions, hidden layers, branes, and information space. These are not poetic metaphors, they are mathematical realities. From Nomura's perspective, the world you're perceiving right now may be just a surface ripple on a much deeper, nine-dimensional sea. Despite his stature in the scientific community, he remains humble and inquisitive. He once reflected, "I believe I'm still standing at the entrance of this universe. Reality may be far deeper, more beautiful, and more complex than we currently imagine." Within that simple sentiment lies a passion to uncover the essence of existence and a universal yearning, to know where we come from, and where we're going. So what lies beyond this visible world? In the next chapter, we explore Professor Nomura's vision of a multidimensional universe, and begin unraveling the mystery of the nine-dimensional cosmos. Chapter 3. What is the nine-dimensional universe? We've always been taught that we live in a three-dimensional world. Length, width, and height form the space around us, and the flow of time gives us a fourth dimension, together forming the familiar framework of four-dimensional spacetime. But modern theoretical physics now suggests that reality may extend far beyond this framework. At the heart of this possibility lies the concept of a nine-dimensional universe. What exactly does nine dimensions mean? In this chapter, we will explore the structure, origins, and implications of the nine-dimensional universe, and what it might mean for us. First, let's clarify what we mean by dimension. It's not just a mathematical abstraction. A dimension is a direction, a degree of freedom, in which motion or variation is possible. We are used to three spatial dimensions, and we experience time as a fourth. But what if the universe is built on more directions, ones we can't see, hear, or touch? Imagine a sheet of paper. From far away, it might appear as a simple line. But zoom in close, and you see its surface, folds, and texture. What we perceive as a flat world may, in truth, be only part of a vastly more intricate structure. This is how extra dimensions are envisioned in modern theories. The most prominent theory that introduces these ideas is superstring theory. According to this theory, all fundamental particles are not points but tiny vibrating strings. Different vibration modes correspond to different particles, just like musical notes on a violin string. But here's the astonishing part: for these strings to vibrate properly and for the mathematics to work, the universe must have 10 dimensions. With one of those being time, that leaves us with 9 spatial dimensions. So where are these extra dimensions? Why don't we experience them? Physicists propose that the extra dimensions are compactified or curled up into tiny shapes known as Calabi-Yau manifolds. These shapes exist at incredibly small scales, on the order of 10 to the power of -35 meters, far beyond the reach of any microscope or instrument. Within these complex structures, the extra dimensions hide, unseen but not unfelt. In fact, the very properties of our universe, the masses of particles, the strengths of forces, even the stability of matter, may be determined by the shapes of these hidden dimensions. In other words, the blueprint of our reality may be encoded in structures we can never directly perceive. This brings us to the holographic principle. This theory proposes that everything we perceive in 3 dimensions may actually be encoded on a 2-dimensional boundary, a kind of cosmic projection. So what we call space may be an illusion, a 3-dimensional hologram generated by data stored in a higher dimensional realm. If that's true, then we must redefine what we mean by reality. What we see, feel, and touch may be surface-level reflections of deeper, richer, multidimensional truths. This perspective radically changes how we understand ourselves. Our bodies, our thoughts, our identities, they may all be part of a vast, dynamic, vibrating web of information spanning 9 or more dimensions. Unseen dimensions. Imperceptible spaces. Yet somehow, all of it shapes everything we know. In the next chapter, we'll take this concept further. We'll explore how our universe might not only be a projection of higher dimensional space, but how it might be a membrane, a brain, floating within an even greater multidimensional cosmos. It's time to meet the brain universe. Chapter 4. The Brain Universe and the Multiverse. In the previous chapter, we glimpsed the vast theater of nine-dimensional space. But within this grand stage, where exactly is our universe located? And how does it fit into this higher-dimensional architecture? Enter the Brain Universe, a model that reimagines our universe not as an isolated realm, but as a membrane, brain, floating within a vast multidimensional space known as the bulk. The word brain comes from membrane. It suggests that the three spatial dimensions we perceive, along with time, may be embedded within a much larger dimensional framework. Imagine a sheet of paper suspended in the air. That paper represents our universe. All the galaxies, stars, and human experiences are etched upon its surface. But around it lies an enormous space we cannot directly perceive, the bulk. This idea emerged in the late 1990s from developments in M-theory, an extension of string theory. M-theory posits not just strings but higher-dimensional objects, 2 brains, 3 brains, and beyond, that can float in multidimensional space. Our universe, according to this theory, may be one such brain. This concept is not just theoretical decoration. It has the potential to answer some of physics' most puzzling questions. Take gravity, for example. Why is it so weak compared to other forces like electromagnetism or the nuclear forces? A small magnet can lift a paperclip, overcoming the entire gravitational pull of the Earth. That's how feeble gravity is at the human scale. The brain model offers an elegant explanation: gravity might not be confined to our universe. Instead, it might leak into the higher dimensional bulk, diluting its strength within our brain. This hypothesis is at the heart of the Randall-Sundrum model, one of the most influential brain world scenarios in modern theoretical physics. But this model raises an even more staggering possibility. If our universe is a brain, could there be other brains floating nearby? This leads to the concept of the multiverse. Other brains might host entirely different universes, with different laws of physics, different constants, perhaps even different forms of life and consciousness. And here's the most provocative idea of all. What if these brains sometimes collide? Some physicists propose that the Big Bang, the birth of our universe, may have been caused by such a collision. 2 brains, drifting in higher dimensional space, may have slammed into each other, releasing immense energy and giving rise to space, time, matter, and everything we know. This theory is known as the ekpyrotic universe. If it holds true, our cosmos was not born from a singularity but from a grand cosmic event between brains. This model recasts the origin of everything as a higher dimensional interaction, not a random spark. Now let's return to ourselves. If we exist on a brain, and our consciousness is sensitive to higher dimensional vibrations, then perhaps our minds are not merely passive observers. Perhaps we, too, influence the structure of the brain through our awareness, our thoughts, our choices. Each decision, each moment of empathy, each creative act, could these be subtle ripples resonating through the brain and into the bulk? We may be more than inhabitants of the universe. We may be participants in its evolution. In the next chapter, we'll examine the mysterious nature of consciousness itself, and ask a radical question. Could consciousness be the bridge between our three-dimensional reality and the hidden architecture of the cosmos? Chapter 5. Does consciousness transcend dimensions? Who am I? Where does the mind come from? Does consciousness vanish at death, or does it persist somewhere beyond? These are the timeless questions that have haunted and inspired humanity since the dawn of awareness. Now, through the lens of the nine-dimensional universe, we may begin to approach these mysteries from a startling new perspective. Quantum physics, the foundation of modern science, presents a world that is vastly different from our everyday expectations. One of its most puzzling features is the observer effect, the realization that the act of observation can fundamentally change the outcome of an experiment. Take the double-slit experiment, for example. When electrons pass through a pair of slits unobserved, they behave like waves, creating an interference pattern. But when we try to observe their path, they behave like particles, and the pattern disappears. In other words, before observation, reality exists in a state of possibility. It is the act of observing, the presence of awareness, that causes a single outcome to materialize. This begs the question, what exactly is an observer? And what is it about consciousness that wields this power? This question has led many scientists and philosophers to speculate that consciousness itself is not confined to the brain. Rather, it might be intimately linked to higher dimensional fields. A structure that connects the individual mind to the deeper architecture of the universe. Supporting this possibility is the holographic principle, which suggests that all the information in our three-dimensional world may be encoded on a distant two-dimensional boundary. What we perceive as depth, volume, and solidity may, in fact, be illusions, reflections of a higher dimensional reality. Could consciousness be the interface through which we access that hidden layer? This framework helps explain many anomalous phenomena. Dreams, intuition, past life memories, all things that seem to defy material explanation. Consider dreams. Where do they come from? They are not simply random firings of neurons. Often, they carry emotion, meaning, and insight. Sometimes, they feel more real than reality. If our consciousness is not confined to the brain, but instead connected to a larger information field, then dreams may be glimpses into that field, our nightly excursions beyond the brain. Intuition, the flash of insight that arrives without logic or evidence, may also originate from higher dimensions. A subtle download of information, beyond linear time. And then there are children who remember past lives. Often, these memories fade with age, but when studied carefully, they contain astonishing details, names, places, languages never learned in this life. Are these simply coincidences? Or is consciousness tapping into a record beyond time and space, a dimensional archive of experience? If so, then consciousness is not just a phenomenon of biology. It is a resonant frequency, an antenna tuned to the architecture of reality itself. You are not just a person living in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself through your consciousness. In the next chapter, we'll explore what this means for our sense of purpose. If we are conscious beings embedded in a vast, dimensional web, what role do we play? Is humanity just a product of chance, or are we the universe's own tools for understanding itself? Chapter 6. Not spiritual, but scientific, the reality of higher dimensions. When people first hear about concepts like the nine-dimensional universe or the idea of consciousness extending beyond space and time, many instinctively ask, isn't that just spiritual talk? After all, discussions of unseen dimensions, invisible energies, and intuitive knowledge often appear in spiritual teachings and mystical traditions. And yet, what we've been exploring in this book has never strayed from science. The nine-dimensional universe, brain cosmology, the holographic principle, these are not spiritual speculations. They are cutting-edge scientific models grounded in mathematics, physics, and empirical reasoning. Let's clarify the difference. Spirituality often relies on belief, on inner knowing, faith, and subjective experience. Science, on the other hand, is built on testable hypotheses, logical consistency, and reproducible results. But here's the twist: as science advances, it is beginning to uncover structures and principles that parallel what spiritual traditions have long described. Not because science is turning spiritual, but because both are converging toward a deeper truth. One through logic and the other through direct experience. Consider this. Ancient Indian philosophy describes the Atman, true self, as being one with Brahman, cosmic consciousness. Taoism speaks of the Tao, the underlying order of the universe, with which humans must align. Hermetic teachings in the West proclaim, as above, so below, suggesting that cosmic patterns are reflected within the human soul. For centuries, these ideas were labeled metaphysical, outside the scope of science. But now, with theories like the holographic universe, we are finding that the universe may indeed encode all its information in a deeper, underlying field. A field where consciousness and matter are not separate, but entangled. This doesn't mean science has become spiritual. It means science is beginning to see what spiritual insight has long intuited. We are not talking about beliefs. We are talking about structures, equations, geometry, and vibration. What once seemed mystical is now becoming mathematical. To be clear, not all spiritual claims are scientific, nor should they be. But the core idea that reality is deeper than what our senses can detect, that we are connected to a larger whole. That idea is increasingly supported by scientific reasoning. This moment in history offers a rare opportunity. For the first time, human logic and human intuition are pointing in the same direction. The bridge between science and spirituality is not made of belief. It is made of insight into the structure of the universe and the role of consciousness within it. In the next chapter, we will return to the center of that insight. You. What is your role in this multidimensional reality? What is the human being, if not just flesh and thought, but a node of awareness within the universal mind? It's time to find out. Chapter 7. Are humans observational devices of the universe? In previous chapters, we explored the structure of dimensions, the nature of consciousness, and the possibility that awareness extends beyond time and space. But now we arrive at the heart of the question. What is the role of the human being in the cosmos? This question is not only philosophical, it is increasingly relevant in modern physics. Two of science's greatest mysteries remain unsolved. 1. What is consciousness? 2. Why do humans exist in the universe? These mysteries intersect in one radical hypothesis. Human beings are the universe observing itself. This idea was notably expressed by the legendary physicist John Archibald Wheeler. He proposed the participatory anthropic principle, which suggests the universe does not exist in a definite form unless it is observed. According to quantum physics, this is not a metaphor. The observer effect implies that quantum systems remain in a state of superposition, multiple potential realities, until measured or observed. It is the presence of consciousness that collapses the wave function, bringing one possibility into actual reality. If that is true, then human beings are not passive spectators. We are active participants in shaping reality itself. This changes everything. It means we are not accidents of evolution but instruments through which the universe becomes real. Even more fascinating is the role of choice. When you make a decision, big or small, you collapse infinite probabilities into a specific path. You choose one version of the universe over another. This is not merely poetic. It suggests that every human choice echoes through the multidimensional brain, subtly altering the informational structure of the cosmos. Our lives are not meaningless. They are ripples. Ripples that vibrate through space, time, and beyond. Every act of kindness. Every expression of creativity. Every realization of truth. These are not trivial. They are the universe recognizing itself through you. As you look up at the stars and wonder about your place in the grand design, know this. You are not outside the cosmos. You are at its center, as an awareness embedded within it. You are not an object in the universe. You are the subject, through which the universe perceives. In the final chapter, we will bring this journey full circle. We will discover why the universe isn't something out there, but something within you. Final chapter. The universe exists within you. Together, we've journeyed through dimensions, consciousness, space, and time. We've explored a nine-dimensional cosmos, the brain universe, the mystery of the multiverse, and the possibility that your own awareness is a bridge to the infinite. What began as a scientific inquiry now returns to something profoundly personal. Because the truth is, this vast, elegant, mysterious universe has always been inside of you. From the beginning, something deep within you has sensed it. That there's more to existence than what you see with your eyes. That your thoughts and feelings are part of something larger. That your moments of awe, connection, and inspiration are not illusions, but signs. Signs that your inner world is deeply woven into the fabric of reality. That moment when you stared at the stars and felt a strange ache in your chest. When you cried without knowing why. When you felt someone else's pain as if it were your own. Those were not just emotions. They were the universe speaking through your soul. All the structures we've discussed, dimensions, strings, information fields. They are not out there. They are reflections of something within. The nine-dimensional universe is not some distant place. It is a mirror, reflecting the truth of who you are. Your memories, your fears, your dreams, your longings. Each of these holds a vibration that resonates beyond the boundaries of this world. They echo through dimensions you cannot see. Your life is not a meaningless sequence of events. It is a story that the universe is telling through you. And every step you take on that journey, every choice you make, every tear you shed, every hope you nurture, adds a line to that story. You are not an accident. You are not small. You are a voice in the cosmic symphony. So love yourself. Honor your pain. Trust your joy. Because all of it, every part, is sacred. The universe chose to become you. And through you, it continues to explore, create, and evolve. And now, as this journey comes to an end, allow one truth to settle deep into your being. The universe is within you. The moment you realize this, you will never be alone again. You will see the world, not as something separate, but as family. Not as random, but as alive. Not as indifferent, but as deeply connected to you. This is your home. And this is your story. Welcome back, Cosmic Traveler. You were never lost. You were simply remembering who you are.